Hello everyone, welcome to the Life Sketches channel. My name is Emily. I'm a 34 years old, attractive woman with white skin, dark hair and a chubby figure. Today I'm going to tell you the darkest secret of my life. It all started one summer day. My husband Mark was out of town on business and I was home alone. It was a hot summer day and everything seemed ordinary. But what happened that day between me and Ethan, our young gardener, turned my whole life upside down. The emotions I felt at that moment left me torn between guilt and desire. Worse, things got completely out of control when our neighbours saw us. What about you? Would you step into an illicit relationship, or would you remain loyal? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Now let me tell you my story. That summer day, it was sweltering hot. My husband Mark was away on a business trip. I was sitting in my large glassed-in living room, overlooking the garden, wearing a light dress in the extreme heat of summer. I had a glass of white wine and a nice cheese plate by the window. I was trying to cool myself down and relax. But the loneliness was creating a strange uneasiness in me. Ethan, our young gardener, was working in the garden. He was 22 years old, dark-skinned, muscular and handsome. As I watched Ethan's movements in the garden, I suddenly felt guilty. Ethan was standing before me like a gladiator, with beads of sweat running down his muscular body, and his sun-tanned skin as he cleaned the pool. I shouldn't have been watching him so intently, but I couldn't take my gaze away from him. I was melting inside as I looked at Ethan. I was filled with extreme lust. I knew it was so wrong, but I really couldn't help myself. Ethan came up to me at one point. "Emily, can I have a glass of water?" he asked, his eyes locked on me, watering can in hand. I felt even more awkward as the scent of his skin hit me. "Of course," I said, but my voice was shaking slightly. I felt her eyes on me as I went to the kitchen to get the water, and I was so excited. As I handed him the glass, our fingers touched. It was a small touch, but I felt a strange electricity inside me. Our eyes met, and something changed inside me. Ethan drank the water and returned to the garden, but I felt his presence more than ever. I began to watch him as he worked in the garden throughout the day, and I felt happy watching him. I liked it very much. The way he looked at me when he asked for water excited me. His sweating muscles glistened in the sunlight. I could not remain indifferent to this sight. I was angry with myself, it wasn't right. But at the same time, the loneliness that had been building up inside me for years and Mark's lack of interest in me were fueling my feelings for Ethan. After a while, Ethan came back to me. I was in there trying to make myself happy, and I was startled. I had an intense feeling. I felt like a child caught cheating. This time he asked, "Can I use the restroom?" When he came back from the restroom, his hair was still wet and his eyes were on me. I was only wearing a red tank top and a thong underneath. "Emily," he said, his voice soft but firm. "I want to say something, but I don't want you to take it the wrong way." My heart started beating fast. "What do you want to say?" I said, but my voice was shaking. "It's hard for a man like me to see a woman like you," he said, his eyes locked on mine. "Seeing you like this every day stirs something inside me." Those words broke down all the barriers inside me. Ethan took a step closer. "How can an attractive and well-groomed woman like you be left alone like this? If I had a wife like you, I wouldn't leave you alone for a moment." I was out of breath. "This isn't right, Ethan," I said, but at that moment he put his hands on my waist and pulled me to him. When our lips met, My brain completely shut down. I tried to pull my lips back, but he had me by the hips so tightly I couldn't move. He scooped me up in his muscular arms and laid me on the kitchen counter. He kissed me on every part of my body, bringing me to the peak of excitement. I had never experienced these sensations before. This man was like a real gladiator. In the living room, time seemed to stop. There was only Ethan in that moment. I felt a passion I hadn't felt in years. That night, everything was out of my control. The next morning, Ethan went back to work in the garden. I was drowning under the weight of what I had done during the night. As I was trying to pull myself together, I saw Mrs. Peterson, our neighbour, behind the window. She was watching Ethan and me. The look on her face told me that she was shocked by what she saw. When I saw her reaching for her phone, I was afraid that everything would come out. I wanted to go over to her and find out if she had seen anything. But I stopped myself, afraid that if I did, things would get even more complicated. That day, I found out that Mrs. Peterson had notified the other neighbours, and within a few hours, I was the talk of the neighbourhood. It was only a matter of time before Mark found out. Ethan knocked on my door that evening. "Emily, I don't want to leave you in this situation," he said, "but I can't take back what happened. I've wanted you for so long, I can't say I regret what happened. I thank you for every second I had with you, but I'm sorry for leaving you in this situation. I don't know what we're going to do now," he said, and turned and walked away. My feelings for Ethan on the one hand and my marriage on the other. I was caught between the two. What will I do if my husband finds out? I was used to this luxurious life. I didn't want to lose it. But those moments with Ethan were indescribable. They were the feeling of a lifetime. The reason I am sharing this story with you today is to alleviate the guilt I carry inside. At this point in my life, I am facing the consequences of my decisions. What about you? Would you step into an illicit relationship, or would you maintain your boundaries? What do you think I should do before my husband finds out? Please help me. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to our channel for more stories.